We're good? Hi, hello. Happy Monday. Can't hear Morgan, just me. Great. Exactly how I planned it. This is my cool down. I am going to just talk about myself. Thank you everyone. We're working on Morgan's sound. Happy Tuesday. Every time Morgan is muted, it's because he just, he likes to pass the mic. That's what it is. Hi, Pack Northwest Star. Hi, Whisper Josephine.
That's probably what it is. Are you hearing me now?
Oh, Whisper Josephine. Can you hear Morgan? That's so funny, Whisper Josephine.
Yes. Okay. Thank goodness. Jeez.
Yay! Yeah, Milo.
Streamlabs did an update.
We're still gonna blame Milo.
That's what it is. 100%.
Yep.
Goodness gracious. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Katie Michaels. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Dungeon Cooldown. Happy Monday. Happy MLK Day to those in the U.S. I know a lot of people have the day off today. That's nice. So we're really happy that you're spending it here with us. Happy belated birthday to Katie Michaels from last Thursday. And also, happy actual birthday to Jared Kajak. Today is Jared's actual birthday, so if you see a stealthy kitty walking around your neighborhood, make sure to wish them a happy birthday.
That's Jared polymorphed.
Jared is polymorphed as a sneaky kitty. Throughout the world. That is correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
all Civ Red Thistles are actually Jared Kajak. I don't know even what I'm talking about. This is the Dungeon Cooldown, where the companion
It's Monday. It's where we welcome the week with you.
Woo.
Together.
Joral's love child, I do use Miracle Grow in my beard, and yes, it will grow back fully by Wednesday. That is one of the
Are there any health ramifications to that?
Oh, I mean, just occasionally I smell like ferns and plants. No, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Cool. I don't know what's happening with sound. I see your comments, folks. I'm doing what I can here. Analog, yeah. That's what. All right, yeah. I mean,
you know what? It likes to be.
Yeah, that should work. I sound like a golf commentator. Interesting. I'm in mono, not stereo.
Angel Devilson, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope your Achilles tendon feels better.
Ow.
That sounds painful.
Ouch. Goodness gracious, I'm so sorry.
Ugh.
Right. How's that? That's a different quality audio. Okay. But yeah, yes, all right. That should be slightly better. Okay, that's wild, man.
Great. Yay, it worked. That's it. Better, much better. That's it. Look at all this positive reinforcement, Morgan.
Thank you.
You're really crushing it.
I really appreciate it. Anyway, woo. But yeah, this is our show made possible only by Patreon, patreon.com/thedungeonrun, where we break down all the stuff from last week's episode, all the stuff going on in between, give you deep dives on lore and facts and character thoughts.
What an episode it was, Morgan Peter Brown.
Thank you. It's Basil time. I really needed that, Morgan Best Boy. I really appreciate that. And Fallstar, I'm seeing those cheers. You're incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you. I do need positive reinforcement. I do need you're doing great, Girk, on this one day.
You are doing great.
Thank you.
You're teching and hosting.
You're doing great, Katie. Katie Michaels coming to us from the friendly shores of Bingle, no longer from Hotel Wi-Fi today.
Yeah, that's right. I'm on landline, baby.
It's amazing. So happy that you're back home safely.
I know. I was laughing last week because there was a point where my Wi-Fi was, I thought, being really, really bad, but apparently I looked fine, but I was trying to hold really still.
No, I mean, you were largely pretty okay last episode. It was the 2 weeks ago that was
trying to hold really still because I was afraid of freezing in a bad position. So it wasn't me. I was like,
just why does Katie seem so removed?
It looked absolutely fine. It was just in my head. So,
oh my gosh. Yes. And the force card about the freeze frame pack.
Yes.
So funny. Yeah, no kidding. That was
such a good one.
More freeze frames. Okay, well, we'll do the next campaign will be all over hotel Wi-Fi. How about that?
Oh my gosh.
God.
I could live without hotel Wi-Fi ever again.
No, thank you.
No, actually, thank goodness for hotel Wi-Fi. It
Yes.
was generally very good Wi-Fi.
Right.
This is a high bandwidth situation.
This episode brought to you by the hotel Wi-Fi at the Sheraton. No, I'm kidding. I don't know which one it was at.
Hyatt? I think it was a Hyatt.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I was there for a long time. I should know.
Someone's fancy. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, no, it was a Hyatt house.
We have, okay. Well, still pretty nice.
Yeah.
But how was your weekend besides? You were driving, you were on the road, right?
Road home. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Drove through Santa Fe, Southwest.
Ooh, nice. Very nice.
Finally, I was so happy to be home. I've been gone for like 10 days, for those of you who don't know. So
was it snowing or anything like that? Because parts of New Mexico and Arizona are quite high elevation, right? Did you see
they
snow?
are. We did see some snow. When we drove out of Denver, it was snowing into Santa Fe. Santa Fe wasn't snowing, but had a little bit of snow. And then we had pretty much no snow, even though we were at like 7,000 feet elevation in Arizona, because we drove through Flagstaff.
Right.
So
yes.
There was snow, but it wasn't snowing, which was nice.
Got it. Jim
Yeah,
Winnet, Extinguish the Flame. I'm seeing your cheers as well. Thank you so much.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm basically in full lockdown here again in Los Angeles.
Really?
I'm trying not to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yikes!
It's dangerous out there, man. How was your weekend in lockdown?
I mean, I binged some TV shows and did some work and other stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Anything good you recommend?
Yellow Jackets is great. Yellow
Jackets.
Jackets.
I've heard that's really good.
Highly recommend Yellow Jackets. My wife loves Cheer on Netflix.
Okay.
It stresses me out. Station 11, Drew B Music. Yeah, Station 11 and Yellow Jackets are probably my two favorite.
Everyone is telling me Station 11 is really good.
Katie
but
Michaels.
I don't even know what it's about.
That's fine. Just go
Which
into
I
it
kind of feel like that's good.
Go into it with that. Yeah, Station 11 is amazing.
Yeah, everyone from all walks of life are saying it's really good.
It is a post-apocalyptic show, but it's not about that at all. So it's great.
Okay. We watched the new James Bond last night.
Oh, it's good. It's pretty good.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I heard really mixed reviews. Like I had a bunch of friends who really didn't like it. And
I was not a huge fan of Spectre. I love James Bond movies. Spectre was a problem in a lot of ways. So I was like, and then I went in and No Time to Die, I quite enjoyed. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it was good. Spectre was like, they're always visually amazing. So like, there's always that, like, it's always going to be beautiful and the music's always going to be incredible and there's going to be cool stunts and whatever.
Yeah.
But Spectre was just kind of all over the place. My only complaint with the new one was I didn't quite understand what the bad guy fully wanted.
I've thought this, and this is not an insult because I love Rami Malek. I think he's great. Rami Malek, I find best when he is playing a very strange, like he himself seems like a very strange kind of out there person, and I'm like, boy, as long as people keep casting him as complete weirdos, I think he's gonna have a very good career.
fruitful career. I know, we just watched The Master. I didn't realize he was in that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I haven't watched that in a while.
And he's like a supporting character in that, and I was like, oh, well, it's
Philip Seymour. I'm still sad about Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Anyway. Okay, so anyway, enough about our movie reviews.
Everybody wants to talk about James and demons.
demons. Okay, so I'm going to interview you.
I was going to say, we got our questions from Patreon. Please send us some questions in chat if you like. We will try to do the Patreon questions first. We did see a lot of the questions about someone summoning a demon. I don't know who did that.
Someone did that just instinctually.
Used to me.
Okay, well, Brian Hughes is our question number 1. In a previous episode 50 something, James told the group about his ability to summon demons, but said he was not in a hurry to do it. If James was not changing, would he still have summoned the demon? Was 50 episodes enough to be okay with it? Great question.
Yeah, it is a great question. Thank you. No, he would not have. No.
And I think to clarify, because I had to read that a couple times just for myself, if James wasn't changing into a demon, No,
I think, I remember that conversation very well. I'm pretty sure we talked about it right after the episode amongst the group of us. They're like, wait a minute, we talked about this. I'm like, yeah, we did. We had a long conversation about it it was right after we demolished the lighthouse. Because we were like, I think the question was like, literally, what's the darkest thing you can do right now, James? I'm like, I can summon a demon. They're like, you can? It's like, yeah. Good. Squillace says, good boy, extinguish the flame. Thank you. Oh, Squillace. Remember Squillace? Hi,
Aw.
Squillace.
Mm.
Anyway, no, he would not have. And I've been um, exploring how to portray these developments with James. And I think part of it is obviously very physical, which is Jeff has been describing these changes and all of these things that you're seeing and hearing and feeling from James. But I think it's important to me that it's more than just surface level. And so I think one of the ways that I can most relate to that is filters going away. And
Mhm.
so that's why, like, um or him doing things that he wouldn't normally have done or might normally talk with the team about before doing.
Right.
Because yeah, as I Morgan the player knew very well that it was that summoning the demon was going to be kind of dropping a bomb into the middle of things. But it was it had the dual benefits of being not a bad plan. It just went horribly. And also like a line he hadn't crossed yet.
Right.
And so James was like, that'll work. I'll do that. And then it just went
Do you
and did it.
think do you think it's like James is also just becoming more comfortable with the concept of demon a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah. I mean, I think so. I think the yeah, the lines in the sand are being slowly erased for
Yeah,
him.
because it feels like you're kind of like, well, I'm fine.
Yeah. It worked, didn't it?
I mean, I look like a demon and I'm fine. It worked, didn't it? Like
Yeah.
I got control over like because you seemed James
Mm,
felt very confident in his like, I'm not gonna lose control of this. Like it's not a big deal. I'm just gonna summon like
right.
it was very nonchalant
Yeah.
the way you talked about it,
Mm.
which is a huge contrast to episode 50, whatever,
54?
yeah.
I think it was
As we
50.
saw in that Force of Good, that's not my strength. So
50 something. Yeah, and so I think it's so no, it is certainly a big development with James. It's certainly
yeah.
not something he would have done prior to. But I don't know. I mean, I think he I I'm I think I can say this now. Katie, there was a very early conversation between James and who we now know to be Shothragot, um, in a secret room, where James said to Shothragot, "I don't want to be a stick of dynamite in the middle of my friends with the fuse lit," and
Hmm.
that's what he's turned into.
Wow, but he doesn't. I don't think James realizes that.
I think he does now. I think
Do you
he
think
had
so?
no. I think he's known it for a while, and I think he's been feeling that way for a while. And um, I and there's a reasonable, and we've been pushing it,
Mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm.
that's the other thing I think we've talked about previously was it will be very hard for James when the entire world is at stake. It'll be very hard for James to say, yeah, but we should really concentrate on my thing. Um, and so James has been willing to accept that, like, no, we should stay the course, keep going the path, don't worry about me. Or if it does come to that, you know, Ugo, Civ, all of you, like, leave me behind, take me out, do whatever you need to do. But my problem is not more important. The needs of the few do not, or the needs of the one do not outweigh the needs of the many. You know, don't let my problem take priority.
Right,
Um, but what that has resulted in is James slowly getting worse and worse and worse.
right. And
Hi,
it's like
hi, Sambrea,
wild.
first time chatter. Sorry,
Hi, yeah.
welcome.
Welcome. Happy Monday.
Yeah,
Um, I think it's yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing because we also don't know what to do.
Right. Right.
I assume James doesn't, or unless he's telling us something he doesn't know.
No.
But like,
I swear, if
like,
James knew what to
yeah,
do, he would have.
like that's like we've tried so much, and I feel like it's wild that we just.
Right.
It's like quite an elephant in the room of like,
Right.
it's getting worse.
Yep. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I've been pretty transparent about the last couple conversations that I've had with Shathrugat, where right after the fact I've tried to tell everybody at least the bullet points about what happens. Right. And I very clearly have asked Shathrugat a couple times, like, what can I do? What do you want from me to do this? And well, I mean, the last time the only thing it told me was suffer. So hey.
Cool. Well, you're doing that.
Yeah, that's happening. So check that off the list.
Well, it kind of leads into our next question. So Red Robin, 2 questions for me, actually, for Katie. Good. 1, how is Lily really dealing with James's transformation? Is she harboring any fears as he continues to become a demon? Mm-hmm. So we can touch that one first, which I think like we're kind of already talking about, which I think this was a big moment for that. And I imagine it will be for everyone in the party, because up to this point, mm-hmm. I feel like James has been pretty like, yes, I'm like turning into a demon, but like I'm not a demon. But I'm still like James. I don't identify James. Demon. Hey, I don't baby. Identify demon. I'm not like cool with demons. I'm still James. Like you relatively been the same from what we've seen. I'm sure there's like urges or feelings or whatever that you're feeling that you're not communicating with us, but we're not seeing that as a party. Right. So to this point, it feels very superficial. I think it's felt superficial to Lily.
It's like a temperature check thing.
Yeah, like it's like, okay, but he's still James. Like he's still acting like James. Nothing. Right. It's like a appearance thing, and it is scary. And it's not that she doesn't think it's scary or concerning. Right. But it hasn't seemed to affect your personality or your instincts to this point. But this move to summon a demon and the casualness at which James then talked about it after it, I think was a moment for Lily to be like, uh-oh. That I think that's how it hit Lily, was like, oh, we need to like talk. Right. Right. Like this is actually maybe progressing more, and we're letting our love for James blind us of like, this is actually affecting him now in more ways than just superficially. Right. I mean, so I think that's how it hit Lily, of like it was a kind of a come to Jesus moment, or a wake up moment of like, yeah, oh, am I being naive in this? Mm-hmm. And not blaming that on James really, but more on like, oh shoot, are we being too protective of our friend because we love him and not understanding what this transformation is actually doing to him? Right. Does that make sense? It does. Yeah. But I think this was this was the first big moment where it was like, oh, old James would not have done that. No. Not in that way. Right. For sure. Right. That would have been a conversation and right. Okay, listen, I know this is like crazy, but this is the move. Right. That would have been old James. This instinctual demon summon. Like it was a little Plan scary A, for Lily. Demon summon. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. And I do. One of the reasons that I love our game so much, and I love our story and our table, because because I do feel like we get so invested and we try to play it real or whatever, and all that, because I've seen plenty of games where someone will summon a demon or do something like that, and everyone else will be like, oh cool, this guy's on our side now. Yeah. All right. And I think the group of us actually played it in that way, and sure, it bears a lot of weight because it's something we talked about, and obviously James himself being and looking the way he does right now, it means a lot more than that. But also, it's like,
that moment of James looking that way and doing this, it's everyone's sort of, it became like dropping a bomb in the middle of the battlefield, almost
Yeah.
literally.
I mean, for Lily, I think it really felt like she was kind of angry in a way, but it was less at James and more at like, oh, we are really not on the same page as a group.
Right.
Oh, we have let this go too far. And what our strength has generally been in the past is like something happens and then we connect and we reconcile it, and then something happens and we connect and we reconcile it. But this felt like a big something happened.
Right.
Of like, oh, have we been ignoring signs?
Right. And we also happen to have a party that, I mean, two of our members seem very triggered by demons.
Yeah.
Both Ugo and Fahima have a lot of strong emotional responses to demons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Which is fair. Yeah, no one's judging them for that, but it's kind of it's the real world. Things stop being polite and start getting real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a wild battle because I feel like everyone was battling, but also working through like a crazy amount of, again, how we play our game, like emotions of like, what does this mean? Who is this person? How do I act around James now? If this is a big departure from who he is,
and there are things. I mean, I've had summoning demons in my back pocket for a while.
Totally.
And
player. We knew that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the only other time where James proposed it was in Olsvach, because there are demons, folks. Yeah. There are demons that can just knock people unconscious just by being around them. And so when we were looking at that massive mansion and a bunch of guards, I was like, there's a demon for this job. But because of all of our hangups and everything like that, it was like, well, we as the party think that's a bad move. And I wasn't gonna push that at the time. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move on because I'm going to talk about one question the entire episode.
I know.
Red Robin had a second question for me, which was, so Lily is now living the adventurer life. Has she thought about what she might do after this current adventure is over, assuming the heroes of Bingle are successful at saving the world? Go home or continue life as an adventurer? Yes, I think Lily thinks about this all the time.
Sure. Absolutely.
And I don't think she knows. I think the both are tempting,
Right.
And also not necessarily mutually exclusive. Yeah. She could go home for a while and keep the door open to adventure. I think ultimately Lily is an adventurer and likes having a mission and would probably be...
likes doing good, likes creating agendas.
Yeah. Maybe bored if she went home. I think I could see Lily being like, no, I'm done. I'm going home. And then like a year later, she's working at the bar and someone's like, we got a mission for you.
A week back at Bingle and loving it. A couple months, maybe. Yes. Yeah. It's so true.
That's how I guess I always see it. I feel like at the end, she's going to need like a vacation. She'll be like, all right, that was a wild intro to adventuring. I get it. But then again,
I mean, Adrian X always reminds, she's got about 300 years longer than the rest of us. That's true. I mean, maybe a gnome vacation is a decade.
Yeah.
I just took 10 years off.
I definitely see her being choosy maybe about her next, like not just jumping into another thing.
Right.
But like going home, seeing her family, because family is really important to Lily. So I think she would definitely do that.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And then
we haven't reached out to Grammy and the family a bit in a while. We should do that.
We owe them a sending.
We do, at least. They got to get a teleportation circle in Bingle. Come on, Bingle.
I know.
Get with the times. Get with the magic-y times.
Listen, it's they're on island time, baby. You got to get there by boat. Okay. David Gem Pro. Hi. The chaos of episode 106, Baby Dragons plus James Demon Battle, was kind of fun. I am wondering how the players balance playing characters' impulsiveness, in James's case, maybe no longer being a voice of reason in the party versus now more demonic each day. The the party dynamic now seems to be the parents are Siv and Lily wrangling 3 impulsive children, assuming, but I wonder if the players and or the more currently together characters are considering better planning or communication before tougher foes are faced.
I will push back on
Cheers.
that slightly. I think our communication and planning have been pretty good lately. Like Axbright went off without a hitch, I will say, but the whole point of the chaos of this last episode is that James is becoming an untenable situation.
Ron says rude.
Yeah, and by the way, where are these beautiful planning, absolutely perfectly organized D&D parties? Show me them, please. I want to see examples.
Well, I think to be fair,
take this personally,
David Jim Pro, I think what we have seen, and I think we've discussed this as a party, is when we first started, our missions were very clear cut, like what we needed to do, where we needed to go, who we needed to talk to. So the planning and execution of that was the ultimate goal was very clear for us. And I think this is what we're seeing with people bringing this up more, because I've been thinking about it a lot, is we knew exactly as a group what needed to do. There wasn't really any question about that. And how we went about it was where we would maybe negotiate or whatever, but it was relatively easy.
Dr. Sparks says that party would be a group of all Katies. You don't want a group of 5 Katies. You might think you do.
No, you don't. You don't. Just singing a song, we never go anywhere. It's just Bigby's hands shaking hands.
That's right. Oh, nice.
But I think that as we've gotten into Act 2, as Jeff calls it, what's happened, and I think what is being construed as our planning being less good, is the objectives are much muddier. Ooh. There is not a right answer to these things. There is not a clear, this is good, this is bad, this is black, this is white.
Right.
And I think what that is trickling down is us looking like we're not communicating as well as a party because it's not clear. No. And we have different opinions on things, which is naturally going to happen. I do think we're a little bit of a teenager phase of our party where we're all have like objectives and want to do our cool things sometimes. And so we have to like be extra conscious to still say, okay, you're right. That is the best idea, or that is probably going to work better than this thing. Because everybody has.
And this is how
has become more powerful. So you have an idea of how, I could do it this way, or we could do it this way, or we could do it this way,
Hey, Dreen X points out something interesting. I think there's definitely a shift in Civ since the Lord of Crows and how reasonable he is. I absolutely agree. And I think this is how life is as well amongst family or groups of friends where everybody goes through stuff. And who is your rock, ultra reasonable person one time might have a really rough patch, and then it throws off the entire dynamic. I mean, I'm sure we've all dealt with, I don't know if you all know this, but the last couple of years have had a lot of weird things as far as personal and family dynamics and all this stuff. And it changes things. And so I think we're trying to live through that a little bit in with demons and level loss and and stuff like that. But I think it also it changes a lot of things, and everybody changes. I mean, you've seen Fahima grow more powerful, and wanting to exhibit that power means weirder things for the party sometimes. I mean, the arcane gate in the blue dragon fight was a perfect example where Fahima could always, do cool stuff. She couldn't always transport most of the party except Civ 500 feet away without telling everybody. She did that. And it was like, whoa, and so it's like, it's everything changes and you're constantly having to level things out or figure out what the new dynamic is. And I think you're right about Civ. I think Civ has absolutely seen that James is struggling, I almost said falling apart, maybe, I don't know. And Civ is stepping up in that way. And I think that's beautiful. I've noticed it too.
I mean, okay, so David Jempro then in chat said 106 fight action seemed impulsive. I'll go James or Fahima. Civ is the dad now. I mean, I think 106 was impulsive. I do agree
100%.
with that. I think
was also
106 was a matter of we weren't planning, we didn't have a good plan of how to deal with the dragons. Fahima and James had very different ideas of how to, well, everyone had a different idea of that, but like the demon in Fahima's mind was then now they're going to get harmed.
Right.
So that you were kind of had an inner party battle there a little bit too.
Well, and also with because once Ugo saw demon, he went red and just said, "I need to go kill it."
So I think you're
really,
absolutely right, David Jempro. I think that was an impulsive battle, and I think that was why, and I think that's part of what the big moment is for the party, right? Is like that was not our best work.
No.
That was not our best work because we weren't on the same page. Then a plan just happened before we had like agreed, which is kind of like our unspoken rule in our party, right? Where we're like, we agree on things as a group.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. Yeah. And then everybody was like going to do their own thing. Then there was no more communicating at that point. So yeah, I think you're not wrong. And I think we've had more moments like that as we've gotten into Act 2, as people have become more powerful, are growing into these grown-up characters.
But everybody still deals with their own impulses and responses. I mean, I think yes, I think 106 was not our best work, and that was sort of the point of it. But not that it was like planned or anything like that, because it obviously wasn't. But I think what happened was it was sort of a perfect testament of what I said earlier, whereas you have one character who is turning into a thing that has very big emotional connotations for two other members of the party. And I think one thing set off an entire chain reaction.
I don't think it was, and I don't think this was necessarily like bad D&D. I just think it was definitely would be considered an impulsive fight.
Oh, for sure.
It was
There's
definitely
no such thing as bad.
Yeah.
Bad D&D is a party no.
Yeah, I do think I think our communication has gotten, again, what I said is I really think it's just gotten trickier as we've gotten into a real gray area of our story.
100%.
And we're just probably never going to fully agree on everything because we're 5 adventurers.
True.
Trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, true.
I mean, like, we're really probably never going to fully agree.
Yeah.
At this point, and unless we get more answers that makes it really clear.
Right.
Because right now we have so many questions still.
So many questions and so much to deal with.
So David Jempro, we'll see. Maybe.
Let's see.
Dr. Sparks for Morgan. Normally, leveling up is a fun and exciting time for characters to become more realized. However, with the path James is heading down, are you excited or dreading each new level?
Both. That's a very good point. Both. That is one of these things with ever since it became very clear that Shathragat makes themselves known around those times. It's been both. It's been like, ooh, I get a new invocation. Ooh, what am I gonna take? And then it's like, oh boy, I can get.
And what are the ramifications?
What's coming?
Yeah.
Oh boy, what's coming? And so that's the short answer is both. I think. I don't know though, man. What Shathragat asked for last time was loyalty and suffering. And so I'm not sure. Maybe Shathragat will be happy with the demon summoning. That wasn't a request, by the way. It wasn't. I mean, the audience knows this. I'm just saying it clearly now for you, Katie. It was not like Shathragat said, by the way, summon more demons, please. That never happened.
By the way, our demon summon count is down. So
hey, you're not really meeting your demon summoning quota. Can you?
I'm going to need you to come in this weekend, James.
Ugh, gross.
The 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It's tricky for you. It's really tricky for you.
It is tricky. So both there is joy in the leveling up, but also dreading what might be coming. Yep.
Dr. Sparks also says for Katie, how is Lily feeling about what happened with the Chrono Dragon? I think Lily's just really confused right now in general.
Yeah.
I think the Chrono Dragon fight was
A bummer.
a bummer and like a real bummer. And I think the biggest thing, and I think a lot of us are feeling this, is like, who are the good guys?
Yeah.
What, like,
I had this conversation with Failwaffle on the Discord where it
who's
was like
good?
what where she clearly was asking like why did James not want to fight Nonezaron? And I said, to my knowledge, we've never had a clear. I don't think any of us wanted to fight Nonezaron. It was just,
No.
but once it was very clearly an us or them situation, that it was a matter of some of us were willing to go like, all right, well, I'm not going to die for you. But to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, we've never had any indication that Nonezaron was evil.
No. And I think that's where Lily's starting to feel the weight of this adventure right now, is just like, are we the good guys?
You know, well, and
You
we've
know,
seen,
because
yeah,
we think so. And for the most part, we've made educated decisions that yes, lead to that.
yeah,
But we're now getting this information where it's like, wait, who is who in this? And
right,
what is this?
right,
And yeah.
yeah,
So I think that's really how Lily's feeling right now, is just a general like, I need answers, but that's an impossible request.
yeah. Now
Kind of.
in Kaz Farron, yeah, seeing the Aureate heroes attack Nezzy was the real shocker. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we've now seen the heroes of the Aureate Age do several questionable things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I forget which vision this was, but burning down the library was like questionable. We maybe now have some ideas as to why, given Onivrius the Keen. But I think it's and but you also saw with them that they did not want to do this. They were weeping. They called it their friend. They did all of these things. It was like
Yeah.
this was
There's a
not a
lot of signs saying it's not in vain and that we are doing the right thing, but there's just enough question, where it's,
Mhm, mhm.
you just want to like, okay, but why are we doing what we're doing?
Right. Right.
Which we don't know ultimately, which I think is frustrating
Yeah.
and confusing when you thought for so long, I'm doing good, this is good, and I'm still pretty sure this is good, but also
Right.
what am I fighting for?
I've said this because Ugo has brought this up. Ugo specifically, I remember, questioning the wardens several times.
Yeah.
But to James, it's always been, I'm not I'm not assuming anything. I'm simply taking the information that we've got, and I would not have done anything different otherwise. Because I think I even said to Ugo at the point, I'm like, so what are you saying? You're saying we shouldn't help the people of Bingle? You're saying we shouldn't save the people at the bottom of the Deep Reef?
Right.
Because the Ashen Mage, I don't know if the Wardens are 100% good or 100% bad. I know what the Ashen Mage is doing is wrong and evil.
Right.
And
Right.
so enemy of my enemy is my friend. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, but it's kind of there are questions of like you just have to take it case by case,
Yeah.
and
Well, I think
there
the cases were so much clearer earlier on, right? They were
right,
like,
yes,
that is objectively bad,
right,
and this is good, and that is bad. And so that's why it's like, I feel like I do trust these people, but they're getting blurrier
right,
as we're going on. They're getting like, okay, I trust you, but also, why is this like this? Why does this need to be like? I do trust you because you've proven this in the past, but
well.
why?
Well, and okay, and we haven't talked about. I know I think we still have a few more questions, but we haven't talked about the questions to Nonezaron and the revelation that the sun and moon are basically time and dragons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's a big revelation. And basically, like, okay, if that equals time, if that equals, you know, who Nonezaron is, what? Oh man, is the battle in episode 6 where the wardens fought those things, that army, those armies of the sun and moon, was that battle started because the heroes killed Nonezaron?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Maybe that wasn't the end of the war. Maybe that was simply the dragons fighting back.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. You feeling me, chat? Feeling me? I just thought of this right now.
It's crazy. I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
It's like it is a mind. It's
We
like you
all,
short wire when you think about it too much.
we always assumed that was the end of the war of ideas, and that was the final battle.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that battle was started by them.
Yeah, we don't really know.
We don't.
Don't
And
really know.
this there's so many things at play. If you haven't gone back, by the way, guys, and rewatched episode 6 lately, I recommend it because there's so many things at play. And what the Shazengao Queen, who we'll get to in a moment, boy, how great was that? The Shazengao Queen says in episode 6, there's reference made to something returning in 300 years.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what that is. And there's reference made to a weapon. Um, and it feels like I don't know, man. And so where does Onivrius fit in with all of this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of questions.
so many questions.
All right, I'm gonna go to the next one.
Okay. I do want to
Um,
talk about the Shah. If there are no questions about the Shazengao Queen, I'm going to have to carve out time to talk about her, though, for a moment.
okay. Grasp my hand, Bradley Potts. For Morgan, I'm wondering how much of your decision making is collaborative with Jeff, or if it's all just getting into the demon headspace. I guess I want to know how much Sloppy Goats is influencing you. Thanks for putting on a great show.
Thank you. Hi, Grasp my hand. Thank you so much. That's a good question. Jeff and I don't really influence each other. I mean, I'm sure, well, we do influence, you see how we influence each other. That is very much on the surface. More so, I will occasionally give Jeff a heads up because Shathragot is inside James's mind. And basically like, hey, James is feeling this way. And then I will let Jeff do whatever he wants about it. That's mostly how it is. I trust Jeff to either do or do not with whatever I give him.
Mm-hmm.
There are occasional ideas about what something could mean. I think I spoke about this in a previous cooldown where um wanting the demon changes in James to be more than just surface, well, as I said earlier, and how that might manifest, because um I think it has to be James losing his mind slightly. It can't just be that he's slowly like gonna look like a demon but still be James. If that feels too easy.
Right.
But having said that, when it comes in the moment, I have no idea what's coming. So, um, yeah, I'm trying to think. What's the last thing that I. The last.
Yeah, I feel like Jeff is really good about taking our like, hey, this is how I'm thinking, and then he doesn't like tell us what he's gonna do with that.
Correct.
It's
He's
like, okay, that's
very.
information, and then he still surprises us with how
Yeah.
that's gonna play out. Where
He
I've never been told like this is how this is gonna play out.
he doesn't say no to anything.
Mm-mm.
Uh, we'll just occasionally. I'm sure everybody does
I
this.
mean, Jeff says no to me all the time. What do you mean?
Oh, does it? Oh no.
I'm just
Never mind. He doesn't say no to anything, but I leave it to him what to use and what not to. And that might mean that there is stuff that he could have used, but we didn't touch on, or we didn't, um, yeah, I think I th- I think, for instance, in Turles, I don't know what he was going to do, but I think Jeff probably had something prepped if we decided to run down the whole Thad Yelmings thing and try to find those kids and the whole dead guard situation. Jeff probably had that ready if we
Oh yeah.
needed to, because I had said multiple times this is weighing heavily on James's mind and not one and this needs to be taken care of probably in one way or another.
Poor Jeff. The amount of things Jeff probably has ready for
Man,
us.
that'll be a
It's a whole other show.
that'll be a long cool down one day. Yeah.
Okay,
I think
final
that answers that
question,
Okay.
and then we can talk about Queen.
Okay.
Because we have 10 minutes left. So
Okay.
I know, at least in my case, I tend to play characters in the same way I would live my life. So Katie, are you as organized as Lily in real life as Lily is with her agendas and goal setting? Morgan, James seems to be becoming more reckless. How much longer can James resist the punishment and Shothergot and just give in to the demons of his patron? Would he be willing to give up the power bestowed upon him just to be free? Oh, very different. I don't think Lily and I have a lot of similarities, I guess, but I don't know. I don't make a lot of agendas in real life. So I guess I do for us. I am in a group of people. I will say that I tend to be like the and Morgan, you can correct me if I'm wrong because you've worked with me. I tend to like try and like hear everybody's points and then summarize.
Yeah.
Like Lily. That's how Lily and I are similar.
This isn't an adjective, so I don't know. You're very you're very centering. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
And it's wonderful about you. And we've talked about this before. You and I both have like production background and everything like that, and so it was very. I'm extremely grateful for you all the time. Because of we wouldn't have been able to do this without some of your skills as well, and so yeah, I see that with Lily. I think that's an interesting question though.
Yeah.
I
don't think a lot of my characters are necessarily like me though that I've played.
James is the most like me of any character I've ever played, which is probably not a shock.
Minus the demon part.
Yeah,
not a demon in real life.
No, and so reckless, I think was the question about James. I mean,
becoming more reckless.
I can't identify exactly with turning into a demon. However, I can identify with that feeling of just feeling like a frayed wire. I think we've all had those times. If you haven't, I'm jealous of you. I think we've all had those times.
You're living in a bubble.
Yeah, right. I think we've all had those times where we've just felt like, and sometimes I'll realize it, and sometimes I won't, where I'll go like, man, I am annoyed. I feel like I have an agitation level, and most of the times it's pretty low, and I'm pretty chill. But every now and then, like, ooh, and you're just kind of like a live wire, and so you're snappier sometimes. And I think that's what I'm trying to draw from the most in these moments with James. So will it lead to recklessness? Maybe, yeah, but it's Morgan's normal is craft everything, think about everything, try to think about everything before I say it. My wife will get annoyed with me sometimes because it takes me a while to say things, and like when we're in a conversation about something, I'll go like, well, I really she's like, just say it. And I'm like, well, I know, but I'm trying to say the right thing. And so I'm trying to craft the right thing.
Words matter, Crystal.
But yeah, it's so I think the filters start going away with James as he becomes less like himself, or as he becomes more like struggling with the anger, with the dark side of this.
Yeah.
And he's willing to accept less, and yeah, and so how he would normally act when he has the idea of maybe I should summon a demon. Normally be like, maybe I should summon a demon. Hey guys, should I summon a demon? What do you think? Is that a good idea? And the difference between that and James like, maybe I should summon a demon. And James goes and summons a demon. It's like, that's
Yeah.
the difference. Yeah. So
I think I
that
think
answers
all
the
of our
question.
characters, honestly, part of the reason why they work for this campaign are extensions of our personalities a little bit.
Well, when you're playing something for this long, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, and that's a great thing about D&D is exploring and toying with little fun sides of yourself.
Yeah.
And each new character hopefully can do that. But honestly, when we're playing something for 350 hours,
Yeah.
it's gonna only get
You're
more
gonna
like
shine
you,
through.
probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I definitely think Lily's more like me than like Gus, you know. But Gus is like the grumpy version of Katie, I guess. I don't know.
I've seen some Katie Gus moments though.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, interesting.
Yeah. Well, I could get I'm not always just a ball of sunshine.
I miss Gus. I miss Gus. Gus is fun.
I would play those characters again. That
Yeah,
was such a fun. That was a fun
that was
campaign.
fun. That was fun. But yeah,
Okay, well now Morgan, you have 4 minutes or 5 because whatever. Because
right.
it's our show and we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Queen.
That was one of my favorite moments.
It was so cool.
It was and the whole took you long enough type of feel of it too. I was like, all right, Jeff. No,
I love that we're like, is it going to be too invasive to send her or something? I don't know. Let's just try it. Oh.
Well, and because
Oh, well, here you are.
I've realized I could cast sending to her a long time ago. I mean, I think I even
like,
said it.
It's always a risk, right? With someone you don't know of like, this can be borderline invasive.
Especially a massively powerful person.
Yeah.
Right? It was why and I've been bit in the past by reaching out to people who are massively powerful. Don't know what to expect. And so the fact that she was so wonderful, it was kind of like, oh great, this is gonna go great. Oh well, yeah, and we also assumed she was dead for a long time. So
I mean,
the reveal
how easy it's gonna be to see her though. That like, what does it bring? Something marvelous.
So she mentioned her family, that her progeny are not going to be so simple, so easy. And I thought about this. Have people talked about this yet? Her progeny are probably Bao Zhai's sister still. 22 years ago, Chomel's mom, Bao Zhai, fled the Shazengao Empire because she had Chomel with Choron and talked about, well, and remember, that person sent the Nameless Few after them, those killers that one of our craziest fights ever.
Yeah.
Oof. A couple of us almost died in that fight. I think Uggo and Civ both got really messed up in that fight. And so that person, it's only been 22 years or so since then. Choron's dead, Ron. But I think that Bao Zhai's family, the people who rejected Bao Zhai and kind of, inspired her to run away, are probably still there. Now, maybe that will help us. Or maybe it'll be a problem.
It's just such a mystery, right? Like, how do we prepare for what kind of hostile is it?
That was described as being a really kind of sneaky, espionage-y, backstabby type of family. So boy, I don't know what we're walking into there. I can't wait though. We'll see. Yeah, Nameless. I think the Nameless Few feel like a thing that Jafrikas. I think the Nameless Few are almost definitely still hanging around, because the Nameless Few feel like a special sect of the Shazengao guards. So probably not the same Nameless Few. Maybe.
I mean, it was only 22 years ago, so
we messed up their boat real bad.
That's not like so long. you know, it is long, but it's
Right.
not so long that
Right.
people couldn't be alive.
Yep.
Depending on, you know, what
So
they were.
knowing what we know about Yan Mo could help us. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's tricky. It's hard to make a strategy because we don't know how they feel about us or actually even really what the situation is there.
I mean, something marvelous. We can show them something. We've got marvelous things. Hey, hypnotic pattern. You know,
something marvelous. I just picture the beginning scene of the animated film Aladdin when there's like that street vendor who's like, Tupperware, you want Tupperware? Like all these different things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and so I'm fascinated to find out what that means. But the fact that she's so willing to talk and willing to help, or at least seemingly willing to help if we can get to her, man, I don't know. I think it's gonna be super interesting. I can't wait to see what we've got there. Yeah.
It's gonna be good up.
I joked about this because by the way, as we've mentioned before, if you're not following us on TikTok, you need to follow us on TikTok because we're putting up amazing stuff there almost every day now. But we posted the clip from last week where you said it was the Bardic Shade, clip, and and I was like, I just wanted to say, it's like, boy, next campaign we run or whatever, I do not want to be the guy who casts the sendings, who casts Speak with the Dead, who does everything that has to ask questions. I want someone else to have that job. Because, man, it is stressful.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's so much pressure, and it's hard. It's hard when they're all phrased so specifically too.
And you've got a DM like Jeff Kanata who's like,
he's like, let me remind everybody of what it says in the rules.
Who will go like, oh, who will take advantage of every single weakness. I love you, Jeff. Damn you.
We love you, Jeff, but also, I mean,
thank you, Fail Waffle. I appreciate
you. Oh, you do a great job.
Thank you.
You're very equipped.
I've admitted I've gotten better. Well, and I said it. I think I've realized. I think my faults early on were the questionings, were not only the yes or no questions, and not only realizing how Jeff was gonna try and mess with me, but also I think I've realized that when I go into those question sessions with trying to cover too many topics is when you get in trouble. We're like, I'm gonna ask this, I'm gonna ask that, I'm gonna ask that, I'm gonna ask that, and I'm now going in with like, I got 2 bullet points, and it will probably take me 2 questions apiece to really get to the bottom of each one. Yeah. So if you go in there with 7 things, you're just not gonna get it.
It's a natural progression. You learned how to use it. The spell was new to you as a player and
true enough,
as a character. So
well said. And discovering hallways, Warlock's Lament. Yes, hallways.
All right. Well, the time is here.
Yes.
I'm very excited for this Wednesday's episode.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll see y'all there.
Yeah.
Or on the YouTube
VOD
premiere.
That's correct.
107. It's bound to be a juicy one.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Monday, Morgan.
And to you, Katie.
Thank you. I hope you have an absolutely delightful week.
You as well.
Stay safe.
Yes.
And thank you to all our patrons for questions. Thank you to everyone in chat. We love you so much.
Thank you for the gift sub, the cheers. Thank you so much, everybody. We've seen a lot of new chatters. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Seeing the community growing all the time. It is. I've said this before, but one of my favorite things is when I see new people entering the Discord for the first time and the welcome that happens, and then they're like, wow, everyone's so welcoming. And it's like, yeah, this place is amazing. Welcome.
Come on in.
But yes, thank you, everybody. Have an amazing Monday. We'll see you Wednesday night.
Happy birthday, Jared.
Happy birthday, Jared K-Jack.
You'll send him lots of love on Twitter.
On the Twitter and on the Instagrams. And he's on the Discord fairly regularly.
Yep, on the Discords.
Yes. But take care of yourselves out there. Happy MLK Day. Happy MLK Day. From all of us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Humankind!
Be bold. We love you. Be both.
Bye.